Happy full moon to you all, and I have a message to share with you. And it's a little bit of a paradox because there are two messages here. And the first is a quote I came across years ago, which is, "What we do in this life echoes into eternity." And this is important to remember. It's definitely something that has guided me. But the other part of this message, the paradox, is a realization I had as a child. And it's because I had someone in my life constantly pointing out things that they thought I should be insecure about, and which they worried others were judging them for. And it was constantly put on me that I should worry about what other people think of me. And so one day it caused me to shift into this pretty monumental realization that helped me through a lot of the anxiety that developed from the insecurities being pushed on me. And that was that no one goes home and thinks about me. Now, that might not be completely true. There might be people who think about me. I don't know. But for the most part, these little things that I was being told to be insecure about and worry about what other people think of me for, I was having these thoughts that no, no one's going home and thinking about me. They're thinking about themselves and their own life and their own details of their own life. Why would they worry about me and judge me? And particularly strangers in passing. Complete strangers in passing. That's who I was being conditioned to believe was judging me and I should care about. That was the typical worry that was being placed on me. And I would just observe and be like, it looks like people are just living their own life, doing their own thing. I don't think they're thinking about what my hair looks like, or if there's a stain on my shirt, or if me dancing a certain way is a bad thing. I don't really think about people like that when I go home. I don't think others are thinking like that about me either. I mean, maybe, but probably not. And if they are, well, that's pretty sad. That's what they're going home and thinking about. I would just kind of scoff at this because it felt like I could just bypass that very easily, and just using my mental capacity to figure out, is that logical? Do people, specifically strangers, really see us and then go home and ruminate and judge? And even if they do, what does it matter to me? It's none of my business what people are thinking of me. So yeah, it's interesting. In one way, I can see why it might matter. You never know when a stranger becomes someone familiar and becomes someone who's a part of your path and an important piece of your life. And you never know if that person's going to give you a job someday or whatever. And you want to look presentable. You want to care about how you're presenting yourself to a certain extent. But then how much does that weigh on our ability to express our true essence and our true creative abilities and creative spark? How much does that give us anxiety about how we look and how we're being perceived by others? And it just puts us in such a cage, in such a small cage. And also, a little point that I made in a comment to someone earlier this week as well, which can be applied to this. How much of that is really just your own ego, your own mind, your own individual mind, creating a perception based off the way you judge yourself and you judge others, and how much of that is just being reflected into your fears and into your anxiety. Well, I think this about myself, or I think this about others, so what if they think that about me? Well, what if you didn't think that about others? Would you be worrying about what other people thought about you? What if you stop judging others? Maybe then you'd stop worrying about if others are judging you. And that is the main point I've made through the years after having that initial realization that no one goes home and thinks about me. It's that I wasn't going home and thinking about others in that way. So what did I have to worry about? And what does it really matter? You know, like all of this is a movie. It's a dream. It's a drama. In one way, you can say everything is so important. And in another way, it's like, no, nothing matters. So we live and we die. We live and we die. We live and we die. And how much of that life, how much of that being alive is going to be weighed down and crushed by our fears and anxiety about what others are thinking about us and how we're being perceived and judged in reflection with our own judgments. And also, how much of this is our seeking of approval? How much do we lie about ourselves? How inauthentic do we get just to appease others or just to think we're appeasing others? A lot of the time we try that and it doesn't even work because others aren't even thinking about us like that. Again, it's a reflection. We think we have to be a certain way for someone else. And really you're enough just the way you are. But when you think you have to be a certain way for someone else, you will be inauthentic and you will manipulate through that. And you will not be genuine in your actions and in your expressions, and you'll be hurt by that. Because anytime we suffocate our true self, our soul essence, which we have one of those, you know, we aren't just nothingness at the core. There's a layer of who we are that is our most genuine expression. And if we suffocate that or manipulate it to get our needs met, essentially, you know, and manipulate others into thinking that's who we are and being disingenuine, we do get hurt by that. It's a suffocation. It's total, like, lying to yourself about who you are. And I started this out talking about, like, your hair, your clothes, but it goes much deeper than this. You know, it's, do you want to dance at the grocery store? All right, dance. Who cares? You're going to go home and no one even knows your name. And if they do and they want to think about you and judge you, then let them go ahead and have their miserable life doing that. Whatever. Like, does it really matter? Just small examples, but this can go so much further out into many, many examples. And, like, just be yourself. Just be true to who you are and stop worrying about what other people think all the time because you are reflecting that anxiety out and maybe you're judging people like that. When you stop judging people, you stop worrying about if they're judging you. So I wish you all liberation from your own judgments of others and of yourself, and liberation of your true soul essence and expressions and creativity, because that is what we're here to do. We are creators. And if you are suffocating yourself and putting yourself in a little box, in a little cage, worrying about what other people think all the time and trying to get approval from people who do not unconditionally love and accept you, then what are you doing? What are any of us doing? Living in fear and anxiety about what one another thinks about each other? I don't understand why we would all be here just to put each other in cages like that. Let's liberate each other. Liberate yourself. Liberate the world. Liberate yourself. Liberate the world. And remember that it's all a reflection, right? It's all what you think it is. The universe is literally what you think it is. If you think people are judging you like that, well, that's how it is for you. If you believe that there's more to this than just judging one another and having cynical, critical thoughts of one another, then you will see beyond that, and you will see that there is far more to life, and that liberation is real. You can liberate yourself from these shackles, and you can stop putting others in these imaginary shackles while you're at it. Blessings to all of you.